congratulations. As debuts go, couldn't have gone much better, could it?
No, I mean that's probably up there with one of the better performances from a debutant ever. Not the best, but it's up there. I felt like there was a lot more to give there. I think I had a lot of slack first darts. I might be too critical myself, but you know, I've many times come off on the stage and played well and thought I didn't play as great. But you know, walking off with the stats there, I think that was a great performance. I can't ask for more. My doubles were good at the right important time. I felt like against James, if my scoring's as good as it can be, like everyone knows, if I take my doubles out, he wouldn't be able to match me.
James is one of the most successful players in history, particularly at the Betfred World Matchplay, and you controlled that game from start to finish. How did you feel about being drawn against him after he beat you in the UK Open?
I mean, I looked at it, you know, it was probably the worst draw in the quarter, in my opinion, but, you know, I knew if I get through that game that there was a good opportunity that the draw could open up for me. And, you know, I ain't satisfied with winning first round games now. You know, I've made a major final, so I can't just sit and be, I'm happy with the first round win. You know, I've got to look to start making major finals all the time as much as I can and winning them, because everyone knows I want to be in the Premier League. And I ain't going to get in the Premier League of just winning the first round games. So, you know, I looked here and thought, you know, it ain't a bad quarter, but we all know that it doesn't matter who you play, they can play amazing. So, you know, it was probably a very, very tough draw, but I don't think James played as well as he could. But I think I was sort of on my A game there.
So, had you set foot in the Winter Gardens before today?
No.
And so on your very, very first day walking through the Winter Gardens, not only did you beat James Wade, but you're already going, yeah, first round wins not enough for me. I've got to be making major finals and winning. This is a very, very high bar you're setting to achieve very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, today was actually the first time I've ever set foot in this ring. You know, I didn't. Obviously, I had my COVID test yesterday, but I was nowhere near the actual arena. And it is one of the most incredible arenas I've ever seen in my life. You know, you just look up and you just think, wow. You know, it's incredible, and I feel like, as much as it is me maybe setting the bar too high for myself, I feel like this game does not let for people that just sit here and think, let's get through the first round, and you know, that's a good achievement. You know, there's so many good players, and you have to keep progressing, keep getting better, because you know, I'm maybe like 28th in the world, and I feel like I've been fantastic last 2 years, but I'm still 28th in the world. So to get in the top 16, I feel like I have to set the bar higher. Because you know, I feel like I'm capable of being there, but I have to be putting in these performances more often. I think like I'm on the stage, more on the floor, and I think I have this year.
It feels like there's a real breakthrough happening for you this year, Luke. You've made your first finals in senior darts, 4 of them in fact. You've qualified for this. You're in line to play in more TV tournaments in which you've not featured later in the year. You could go, you know, not just one big step, but several enormous steps between today and the end of the year, or maybe at the end of this week.
Yeah, I mean that's the key in it. You know, I'm defending, you know, a lot of money at the World Championships this year. So it's nice to take a little bit of pressure off and, you know, gain a bit of money now. And when it comes to the World Championships, you know, when that £50,000 comes off, you know, it ain't such a big drop for my ranking. You know, my goal is to be in the top 24 after the World Championships, because I could be in the Masters. That's another like major I'm in, another competition I can prove myself, and that's what it's all about for me. You know I played good darts on the Pro Tour, but I know I play my best darts on the stage, and I want to be there as much as possible.
So, I mean, Krzysztof Ratajski next for you. He's a guy you've not beaten. You only played him a couple of times. But with all the players in this event, it looks very wide open. And yet you think, why can't I go and beat all of them? Your first title could be one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, I mean, Krzysztof's, I rate him as like a James Wade. You know, he's very consistent, very straight throwing. You know, you ain't going to get below 95 average from Krzysztof, but he could throw 105. So he's anywhere between there. He's a very, very tough player, in my opinion, to beat, just like James can be. And I know that I'm going to have to outscore him, because, you know, I feel like my scoring power is what can take me to the highest level in this game. And if my doubles can go out like they did, you know, the last few times against Michael in the UK for final, like there against Wade, if they can, my doubles go in my scoring, I think I'm very, very tough to beat. But I know that Krzysztof's a fantastic player, and I'm going to have to perform like I did against James today.
Can't wait to watch it. Well done.
Thank you. Luke, many congratulations. I know, speaking to you personally, you've waited a long, long time for this moment. The match play has always been the one that you've wanted to tick off. From the moment you got up this morning to the reflection time you've had now, has it lived up to expectation?
Yeah, it has actually, Phil. You know, this is, you know, I've qualified for lot of majors, but this is the one that I've wanted. I don't know what it is. I think it's so iconic for the players. I think I walked into the arena today for the first time, and I realised why. You know, I look up and I think, wow, it's just an incredible arena. I think a lot of the players would agree with me, and it's been one of them competitions where I really wanted to qualify for. And you know, I was satisfied to be here, but I just wanted to win. You know, I want to win as many games as possible because I feel like, you know, the heat can be quite a difference for player. I felt comfortable at that. I didn't feel too hot. I felt more hot after I'd finished my game. So if I can deal with the heat and I can play like that, you know, I will be dangerous in this competition.
Just touched on what you said to Dan there about the Masters and everything like that, and the Premier League, that you have ambitions. Do you look at what Johnny Clayton's done in the last year and the doors that's open, and are you trying to plot the same sort of route as Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, being realistic, I think Johnny's probably at a higher stage than me. I think he's very much more consistent than I am with the height, with the top games. I think he's a good example to look up to, actually. You know, I think look at Johnny and think, you know, since that World Cup which he won, he's been on the up, and I think I've been on the up since my UK Open. Since he won that World Cup with Gezi, you know, he's been on the up, and I feel like since the UK Open for me, I've been on the up. You know, it's hard because, you know, my first goal was to, you know, do well on the Pro Tour. I've done that now. Then it was qualifying for all the majors. I've done that now. You know, I have to look up what's next. It's Premier League. It's, you know, World Series. It's, you know, that's the next step, isn't it, for me? So, you know, good performances that ain't going to do me any harm. But I think the next step for me is, you know, I ain't going to put too much pressure on myself, like getting in the Premier League and stuff, because I feel like I've flourished, and, you know, I think that's the sort of things that would suit me very well.
You touched on the UK Open there, and I know you said to Dan about it, but what did you learn mentally going into this game against James? Because James can be a tricky player off the oche as well, can't he?
Yeah, James he's a very tricky player to play, not just on the oche. You know, he's a methodical player. You know, he's very tough to beat on everything, mentally, you know, physically on the board. He's a very sort of methodical player, as I've mentioned quite a few times. But, you know, I beat him the other week 6-1 on the Pro Tour, and, you know, I think that when you get in front of James, he feels like, he looks like he can't be bothered, and I knew that was the case, and that's why I thought, you know, get in front of him really early, punish him, you know, and obviously, like I did, you know, punish his misses, and he did miss, you know, I think there was one leg there, he missed 5 or 6 darts, you know, double, and I come in and punished him, and usually that's the other way around. Usually James does that to other people, so I felt like, you know, punish his mistakes, and he did have a few mistakes, and I think that's why, you know, the scoreline was pretty flattering.
Luke, congratulations everyone, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Luke, we know you've worked really hard behind the scenes on the fitness side of things, and it's days like today that you really reap the benefits.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is hot up there. You know, I expected it. You know, no disrespect to the other players, I expected it to be more hot. I thought it was going to be roast. I couldn't cope, but actually, I coped pretty well with it. I took a lot of shirts with me today, just in case, you know, change the fifth break the temperature. But I didn't change the shirt because I felt, you know, it ain't as hot as I thought it was going to be. Obviously, that might change for the week. But, you know, losing weight and being a bit more fitter has probably helped in that circumstance, because, you know, you don't sweat as much, you don't feel the heat as much. But I feel like the heat's hit me more when I've walked off the stages after. You know, I felt very comfortable on the stage there.
And how confident are you can back this up now on Tuesday? Obviously, it's going to be a full crowd in as well. How much confidence is that?
Yeah, you know, that was a lovely little taster playing in front of 800 people. Now I'm ready to sort of play in front of 2,500 people and, you know, experience the big time crowds now. It's been a long time, actually. You know, I think the last time I played in front of the crowd was like that big was 18 months ago, and I miss it. I do miss it a lot. You know, it's been a long time coming. I just can't wait, and I feel like, you know, if I can, it's going to be hard to back up performances like that, but I feel like I play much better when I'm preparing for one game a day. This tournament, if anything, it suits me the best. Thank you.
You mentioned it there, Luke. You say it's been 18 months since you played in front of the crowd. You're the player in this tournament that's had to wait the longest between playing in front of the crowd. Did you realise how much of a buzz it was going to be, not just walking on, but during the game with the crowd cheering you on?
Yeah, I see that in the tweet, actually. I think it was like 497 days since, you know, I played in front of a proper crowd. But I feel like, I've said it in other interviews before, I don't feel like it was any different, you know, because when you hear the crowd noise playing, you know, in the background what we have played, you know, unless you focus on what's going on in front of you and you're looking out to the crowd and you're worrying about what's going on, that's the only way it'll affect you. You know, the crowd mode was fantastic. I think the crowd today were very respectful and amazing. You know, I think that's one of the best crowds I've ever played in front of. You know, they cheered for James, right? They cheered for me. you know, and they're very, very respectful. And I think darts fans are starting to get to that point now where they're very, very respectful, very, very good. And I enjoyed that. That was incredible up there. I think 2,000 fans, you know, or was it 2,500 fans on Tuesday will just be an incredible spectacle. It's going to be a lot hotter, so obviously it's going to be another task for me to cope with.
You say James sometimes can struggle when he gets behind. That was obviously evident today. Did you feel some of the work you've done mentally, not just physically, was something that gave you the edge today?
Yeah, I mean, I have my mental negatives. You know, I think a lot of players know what my mental negatives, but I know that James, when you get in front of him, I experienced it a couple of weeks ago in the Super Series. I was 5-0 up, and he felt like he was giving up. He sort of let me have the game. You know, I think when I was, I don't know if it was 8-2 up, but I felt like he was just throwing as if he couldn't be bothered. And you know, I'm happy to pick the pieces up and take the game away if you're going to give up. You know, I've had a lot of games this year where I've sort of been 3 or 4-0 behind and come back and won, because I feel like I've got the game to pick them games, you know, back, you know, pull it back. But I feel like James sometimes can have that. I mean, I'm not disrespecting him. You know, sometimes he can have that negative attitude, like I can. Sometimes it can happen to me. I mean, if he's on top of you, he don't relent, and I feel like that's what I need to start doing. If someone gives me that little bit, that little inch, I need to take him out.